Okay, so the moment the bait finesse world has been waiting for has finally arrived, and that's because Shimano has finally unveiled their new 2022 Aldebaran BFS. And I'm going to share all the information that I found out with you guys and just go over my thoughts. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to, I guess, Shimano TV's YouTube page, and I bookmarked the more important, I guess, parts of the video, so this video won't be too long, and I'm going to share my thoughts with you guys of what I see. So there's the new reel right there. And let's pause this for a minute. It looks to be an entirely new reel, kind of similar to the old reel, but definitely all new. You can see it's got, I guess, less of a pointy nose than the old reel. It's got a new thumb bar. The brake adjustment has, I guess, kind of moved. Looks like the knobs are about the same, and the color looks to be a little bit darker, but let's proceed. Oh yeah, one thing is you can tell that the spool is far less ported than the outgoing model. Alright, so it looks like the brake dial is fully exposed, and I hope it's easier to turn than the previous model. And it looks like he brought out, I guess, the new side plate, because there's supposed to be a, I guess, new improved version of the FTV system. And it looks like that hub is smaller, and we're going to talk about that here in a second. But it looks like he's just, you know, turning the brake dial, moving the brake hub forward and backwards. And I'll explain that here in a moment. But let's go to another important feature of this new reel. That's going to be the spool size, which I think is at about 1045 on this video. Okay, so Shimano did shrink the spool down, and they are going with the MGL3 design. So basically it's narrower than the original, coming in at 19 millimeters, but it's also 29 millimeters in diameter. So the spool diameter is 29 by 19, while the previous model was 32 by 22. Here's a little, I guess, skipping footage here. And I'm pretty sure Shimano is going to release, I guess, a fishing promotional video of this reel within the next couple of days like they normally do. And of course I'll share that with you guys when it comes out. But let me show you guys the side view. I'm going to skip all the way forward. And you can see there, I don't know about that side plate. It looks really, really busy. And the fact that that brake dial looks to be the same cheap brake dial that they're using in the current Aldebaran, where you can barely even see the numbers. Yeah, I don't like that design, at least looking at it on video. Now in hand I might like it a little bit better, but it looks cheap to me. Now you can see here it's got the micro module designation logo there, so I predicted the new reel would have micro module gears, and I was correct. But if you look at this drag star here, it looks to be CI4 Plus or graphite, not forged aluminum like the old model, and that's a disappointment. Okay, so let's go over to this other video, and it's the same guy but his own personal YouTube channel where he discusses this reel. And we're gonna fast forward where you can see the new reel, I guess, in the sunlight. And from this angle, it looks very similar to the old one, but yet it's different. The nose is far less pointy, but it does slope down at the front like the old model. And here we can see the drag star in better detail. You can see there's a lot of machining out of material, I guess, to make it lighter, but it definitely looks like it's going to be a CI4 Plus drag star instead of aluminum, which is disappointing in my opinion. But we can also see that they're going with a slightly different handle design that looks really similar to the old model, as well as the nut retainer is new, but the end caps are new, and I think the end caps look better than the old model. So we're gonna go over to 2 minutes and 22 seconds. And here's another close-up of the new reel. So they're giving it the MGL3 spool once again, and there's hardly any porting there. But we're gonna talk about the spool here in a second. Now, just from this angle, it looks wider than the outgoing model. And here he says that the spool is 29 millimeters. So right here, he's comparing the old and the new model. Now his hand is blocking a lot of the new model, but it does look shorter than the old model. And here's a spool comparison. Let me pause this real quick. So 29 by 19 versus 32 by 22. And yeah, that's a big difference. Now, not quite as small as the Steez Air and the Alpha's Air, but that 1 millimeter shouldn't be that big of a deal. Now you can see that, I guess, to keep a similar line capacity, it is slightly deeper than the old model, similar to what DAIWA did to their air reels with the new smaller spools. And right there you can definitely see the size difference between the old spool and the new one. And it looks like Shimano has kept the spool shaft stainless steel instead of going with aluminum to reduce weight. And once again, you can see there is very little porting on this new spool. Okay, so right here I used Google Translate to kind of translate what he was saying, and he said that Shimano was targeting the Steez Air with this new Aldebaran, and that they're claiming that this Aldebaran can go down to 1 gram easily. But he also made a bold statement and said that he believes that the new Aldebaran exceeded the Steez Air performance. Now, of course, I don't have a Steez Air, but I do have the Alpha's Air, which has the same spool. So of course, when I get my reel, we are going to put them head to head at last. Okay, here's an ad. Now, it's kind of a new thing that he's actually brought up a competitor reel by name, as I've never seen them do that before, but you know, I could be wrong. But definitely their goal was beating the performance of the Steez Air. Now, since the spool is smaller, the FTV brake hub has been reduced as well. And here's a better side shot. And yeah, I don't like the exposed dial. It kind of looks cheap. Or maybe it's the fact that the dial itself looks cheap and they should have made it look better. So what do you guys think of that exposed brake dial like that? Now here he's talking about the new FTB brake system, and they've implemented a design change, which I'll go over with you guys here in a second. And one of the changes, they added this metal plate, I guess, around the ring of the brake hub there. And they say they did this for a specific reason, which I'll go over here with you guys in a second. So right there, it looks like the new one looks bigger than the old one. So I guess whatever he's holding in his left hand is going to look smaller. But yeah, let's go back to the other video. See if we can see some more live shots of this reel. Now the weight I think has stayed the same at 130 grams. But yeah, look at the new Aldebaran. It's kind of got a blue tint to the paint job, kind of like the 2018 Aldebaran MGL. Once again, the thumb bar looks to be all chrome. Yeah, that looks cheap right there. That brake dial just sticking out like that. Now, I hope it's not uncomfortable like the brake dial on the TATULAs, because that was a major complaint for me when palming the TATULAs. That's definitely a very busy looking side plate. But let's go to the official Shimano Japan website now. And there's the reel right there. Now in this picture, it definitely has that blue hue to it. It is definitely a new reel. It's got a very busy design. And let's go over the features real quick. New FTB with expanded brake adjustment range raises the limit performance of bait finesse. So once again, it's got this metal ring circling this piece here. It says the new FTB installed in the reborn Aldebaran BFS has expanded the range of movement of the brake unit, making it possible to apply a wider range of brake settings than before. In the conventional model, the magnetic force of the magnet affected the spool even when it was set to dial 1, but in the new FTB, the magnetic ring is further retracted to increase the distance from the spool, and the influence of the magnetic force is unlimited, succeeded in approaching 0. It is a technical specification for experts who can decide a low trajectory flip cast even with a lightweight lure of around 1 gram. So right there, Shimano has said, just like with DAIWA, that this reel should be able to cast down to 1 gram. Now the Magnetite spool is installed in the bait finesse for the first time. Low trajectory further back. Now let's read some more. The Magnetite spool 3, which has achieved unprecedented low inertia by significantly thinning, is installed for the first time in the bait finesse model. So here's some opinions of their pro staff, which is pretty irrelevant because, you know, they're pro staff. Here's another guy giving his opinion. And right here it says you can fly freely even with a weight of less than 1 gram. Hey, what happened to my translation there? Anyway, basically you got your Hagani body, which is magnesium, micromodule gears, X-ship, silent tune, CI4 plus, clicking drag, of course they're keeping that. But let's look at these pictures real quick. So here's the side. Looks like it's got a new handle assembly that looks similar to the old one, and once again the knob end caps are new, which looks better than the old ones in my opinion. There's a drag star. It's still a 6-point that is much bigger than the standard Shimano drag star, but once again it looks like it's going to be made of CI4 plus. Here's the front of the reel, and yeah, you can see that brake dial sticking out right here. Yeah, I don't like that design. Here's the side plate again. It's very busy, a lot of etching into it. And maybe that brake dial. No, I thought it would be hidden by this part here, but it's not. But it looks like they're keeping the, I guess, cone-shaped line guide. So the one thing here that strikes me is that Shimano doesn't give us a spool weight on the new model like they did with the old model, which they proudly proclaimed was 7.2 grams at the time. Now with this new model, they're not giving us a weight on the spool. Now obviously I believe it's going to be lower than the outgoing spool, but how much lighter will it be is going to be the main question. Now my prediction is that it's probably going to be in the mid to high 6 gram range. But of course we won't know until I get my hands on one and put it on the scale. Now let's talk about the brake system. So apparently with this new FTB system, the brake hub can be retracted farther back than the old model, giving this new Aldebaran the ability to have close to zero magnetic braking. So apparently with the old model, dialing the brakes back to the lowest setting still gave some magnetic brake force. But with this new model, they're claiming that you can get close to zero braking. Now I've never ever been able to go down to the #1 setting in the old Aldebaran, no matter what the weight. So I guess this statement here sums it up. It is a technical specification for experts who can decide a low trajectory flip cast even with a lightweight lure of around 1 gram. So that's a bold statement saying that you can flip cast a 1 gram lure, and I'll have to see that to believe it. So yeah, in a nutshell, the new improvements are going to be the smaller spool and a improved FTB brake system that allows you to have even less braking than before. And of course the micro module gears. So yeah, that's a lot to take in. Once again, leave a comment on what you think of this new Aldebaran. I've already put my pre-order in, and it's stating that the left-hand models will be available in late February, while the right hands are going to be available in April. And I guess in order to get your hands on one, you're going to have to contact your favorite JDM shop and get your name on the list. Alright guys, so that's it for the new Aldebaran BFS, at least for now. And I'm going to be going over all the other new Shimano releases as well as DAIWA in the next few days, so be on the lookout for that.